This is Singles Exchange. Let's talk, let's hang. This is Singles Exchange. Singles Exchange.
All right, welcome back to Singles Exchange, a podcast that focuses on conversations, connections, and community. As always, I'm your host, Joy J, and we have a super exciting episode today. You guys get to meet the Exchanger staff. Woo, 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 woo. So, we're going to go ahead and let them talk, but before we do, you guys know the drill. If you are a frequent Exchanger, then you know I want you to be sure to like, share, and subscribe to Singles Exchange on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and whatever your streaming podcast platform is. Also, we are all rocking that Singles Exchange merchandise because shirts are in and they are selling out fast. So, whether you want a white shirt or a black shirt, I want you to be sure to follow us on Facebook and get that link and order your shirt. Because once they're gone, you got to wait till we do another round to get it, okay? So, we're going to go right on ahead and get started. This is going to be our formal intro to our first series, and I'll announce the title of that at the very end. So, you got to stay to the end to hear it. So, I'm going to introduce you guys to our staff, and then I'll tell you a little bit about why each of these ladies are here. We'll start with our very first staffer, Miss Lisa, and I will let Lisa tell you guys a little bit about herself.
Hi everyone, I am Lisa, and I am originally from Chicago, but I reside in St. Louis. I am single. I am a minister at Move Church STL.
All right.
I am,
It's okay, Lisa. Y'all pray for Lisa, okay?
I'm nervous.
It's okay.
But yeah, I am 27, and I love to cook.
She does.
Yes.
She does. All right, and up next we have our second staffer, Miss Tamika, and I will let Miss Tamika tell you guys a little bit about herself.
Hi you guys, my name is Tamika. I am 34. I am born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. Woo woo. Girl from the loop. And I am a creative. I'm a marketing manager in the healthcare industry. And I am married. I've been married for 7 years to my wonderful husband, Skip.
7 years.
And we have a 18-month-old named Malachi. And also I'm very involved in my church. Shout out to Life Center International Church of God in Christ.
Yes.
And I just love being a part of whatever's going on in the community, and I love helping my friends. I love serving with my friends, and that's why I'm here with Singles Exchange.
Yeah. And last but certainly not least, I would like to introduce you all to Miss Trinity. Miss Trinity.
Hi, my name is Trinity Murray.
All right, Murray.
Okay. Shameless plug.
Yes, I was recently married in June of 2020. I work as a site supervisor at an educational nonprofit, and I love the kids. I am passionate about just learning, growing, especially language and literacy. So that's all I do. So I'm just excited to be here and exchange and just talk with all of you.
Yeah, so we're excited. I'm going to tell you guys how these ladies, because I know some phenomenal business owners, entrepreneurs, and I want to give a shout out to all of them at some point, but I want to tell you guys how these ladies wound up on the staff. So I'll start with Lisa because Lisa was first. Back when I was freshly starting Singles Exchange, before I even separated it from my personal page, Lisa messaged me like, so, Singles Exchange is becoming like a thing. And, you know, if you need any help, you know, you let me know. And I was like, girl, I ain't trying to make this no thing. I don't even want to do no singles ministry, but okay, whatever. So when at the God Wood Me via Lisa and Tamika and a few other people,
Amen for the wood.
I was like, all right, we're gonna make this a thing, and I'm gonna drag them along with me. But Lisa is willing to help. For any creatives, any entrepreneurs, or anybody that's starting a business, you want a Lisa on your team because Lisa is willing to do whatever. She's not the person that has to be in the forefront, but she's gonna make sure that the work gets done. So that is how Miss Lisa got here. Next, I'll tell you about Tamika, who is the second whooping. She called me like, so, same thing. Singles exchange is becoming a thing. What we doing? And I was like, nothing, because I don't want to do singles ministry. So we're just going to leave that where it is. And she was like, okay, call me when you're ready. So about a month later, I was like, hi.
I'm ready.
I need a logo. I didn't even say I was ready. I need a logo. She was like, logo? No, you need a brand. Matter of fact, let's just arrange a meeting. So I'm at this meeting like, they really finna make me do this.
We are.
And she was right. You like C words, don't you? I'm like,
You do.
I guess.
Sure.
But seriously, exactly. That's what I was like. I don't know, because I've never done this. And Tamika helped me to kind of unravel all of the piled up thoughts about singles exchange and make it into a brand, which of course that is her profession. She does it for a living. But to have a friend that you can call on and switch from, you know, strictly singles exchange, because I call Tamika at least once a week and we pound out some singles exchange stuff and then switch to,
Right.
girl, did you see Married at First Sight?
Yes,
Like
girl.
that.
So speaking of,
We need to talk. We need to talk. So yes. So you want to have a Tamika on your team because you want to have somebody that is able to kind of help you work through the visual side, the things that you can't do, because I'm creative on one aspect, but Tamika is creative in an aspect where I'm not. So you have to have that balance. And she's able to tell me, okay, you had that idea and it's a good idea, but you just had that idea yesterday. We're gonna work it out first before we do it. And I'm like, all right,
sorry.
you're right. I need it. And last but certainly not least, we have Miss Trinity. So Trin, actually, we stayed together during quarantine, which that's a whole nother story in itself. But we ended up staying together via quarantine. So I would literally sit on the couch and just be sitting there writing. And I would be like, Trin, what do you think about this? And she would just start talking, and she would take this one topic and turn it into like this whole brainstorm, like this web of ideas. And I'm just like, okay, that's, you know. And I was like, well, I do need to add somebody else to the staff, but I don't want it to be all my friends. I don't want to make it seem like I'm playing favorites. Like, I don't want to do that. And after like 3 weeks of God being like, you gonna tell Trin she on the team yet? You gonna tell her she on? I was like, Trin, you want to be a staff member? Because I mean, you've been helping anyway. You already been doing it. And the thing about me and Trin working together is we're both wordy people. So where I can't really find the right words, like I can just tell her my idea is ABC, and she'll turn it into a complete sentence. So you need somebody to balance you out. So that is how Trin came to be. Also, I want to shout out Jasmine, because Jasmine stepped in on the spot to help us, and I appreciate it. I told y'all all of my friends are the bomb, and I just want to shout them out. So thank you, Jasmine. So what we're gonna do now, we're kind of gonna do kind of a speed dating thing. I have a question that I want to ask all of the staff, and then I have one individual question for each of them. They do not know the questions.
I tried to get it out of her, y'all.
We tried.
They tried
We
really
tried.
hard, and it didn't work. But then I'm gonna allow them to flip it on me, and I'm gonna let them ask me some questions, and I have no clue what they are.
Does not.
So, you know, we're gonna find out. So I'm gonna get my little handy dandy piece of paper. And this is my
I was just stretching.
Oh,
yeah, sure. This is my all staff question. So the question for all of you, and whoever, you can answer in whatever order you want. What do you think your biggest contribution to Singles Exchange has been?
Wow.
Wow.
Didn't see that coming.
Did not.
And so I told you guys I have some bomb friends. So some of them helped me come up with these questions. So first I want to shout out Kayla, because this was Kayla's question. And it's a good question. And Danita added on to it. So thank you, Kayla and Danita. So whoever wants to go
I
first.
can repeat the question.
What do you think your biggest contribution has been for Singles Exchange so far?
Well, I would think that my biggest contribution would be how optimistic I am about being single.
Absolutely.
When we begin to think about topics and think about what we're going to discuss on the next episode or whatever the case may be, whenever it comes to questions, I kind of like to look at it from both perspectives, from the single perspective, but also from the, hey, what if they're married? How would the married people feel about this question? Or, if I'm assigned to do a self-care Saturday, I'm like, let me put up something for the married people so that they can feel involved as well.
Yeah.
And then also looking from the different perspective as being single, being the single that was just like, I'm over relationships, I don't want another relationship, and now here I am, okay, God, I'm actively trying to date, so help me out. So I think just my perspective on dating in general can be very, good.
I agree, Lisa. Anybody else?
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of the team. We all have really unique perspectives. I think one thing that I really draw upon that I value is a lot of like self-awareness. I've kind of been through all of those stages, and also being like the communicator and like language freak, I guess I am. You can't communicate effectively if you're not in touch with where you've been and where you are.
Yeah.
So I think that in all of those things, you'll notice a lot of the content that I create is very much focused on like reflection and introspection.
Yeah.
So that's like one thing that I think I would contribute, and I hope that people benefit from also.
Yes, I like it. That was Tran, and I agree. I got a comment, but I'm gonna wait until Tamika answers because I think hers will kind of bring it all together.
No
No pressure.
No pressure.
When you first asked the question, I thought completely different than the two of you. The obviously the branding and the logo, that's a thing, but that's not what I first thought of.
Yeah.
The first thing I thought of was our meeting at Breadco, that first meeting at Breadco.
Yes.
And I thought about how unsure you were about the validity of this idea and your confidence in what you wanted to do and the vision you already had in your mind. And I feel like God has gifted all of us, but I feel like, in that moment, I feel like I was able to like really help encourage you and kind of push you off the cliff. Because I remember that moment. And that's to me the biggest blessing that I was able to share with you. And that's what I first thought of, was because if you hadn't jumped off the cliff and just done what you knew you were supposed to do, we wouldn't have all these people being encouraged to be single and to be happy being single. So that's
Right. That's good.
no, that's what I thought of. To me, that's my biggest like. Yes, thank you.
And
Thank you. I'm so glad I'm a part of it. I'm so glad I was able to do that. And I know it wasn't just me, but I feel like in that moment, that was a pivotal moment for you.
Absolutely.
So,
I totally agree with all three of you.
yeah.
So yes, I feel like, and the comment that I was gonna make, Tran, to you was that for those of you who, well, I'm sure y'all don't know, for the past 2 months, most of the content that you've been seeing hasn't even been me. It's been the staff. But the way that they meld it all together, you never know if it was Joy or Lisa or Trent or Tamika. You don't know who's writing this post per se. All you know is that it's the same content. And what I appreciate about the three of you is that there's always a level of excellence attached to what you do. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, Lisa, your question is first.
Oh.
It's a good question.
Bum, 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 bum.
You got this. Right. All right. So, Lisa,
Yes.
how has Singles Exchange affected the way that you navigate love and relationships?
Wow, that's a really good question. So Singles Exchange it's been a self-help for me because I'm able to see other people's perspective underneath the comments and underneath the questions. And it's also forced me to realize some things about myself. Like, hey, Lisa, you can't be posting about having positive relationships, but you're struggling in connecting with people, or you're struggling in communication, or you're struggling with being vulnerable. Like, it had me push myself to be better because I was encouraging everyone else to be better in the same moment. So I think that Singles Exchange has definitely impacted how I view relationships and how I handle certain situations when it comes to being in a relationship or trying to get to that point of actually wanting to date and actually wanting to be married and actually wanting to have a healthy whole relationship.
That's dope.
Wow.
And you were nervous about your question.
I was super nervous.
That was good though.
Y'all know how far I've come with being vulnerable. I couldn't even
Listen, she
say
couldn't
the
even say the
word.
word.
I couldn't say the word about the word.
How did I forget?
I went.
Literally couldn't say
I was
it.
like, you want me to do what? Like open up what? No. I'm okay.
I'm so
She
proud.
said, she said open up instead of vulnerable.
She literally would not say it.
I would not say the word.
But I'm so proud of you.
That's funny.
All right, Chan. My question to you is, I gotta find it on the paper now. Has Singles Exchange brought up any conversations in your own relationship with your husband, and how has that affected the two of you?
Wow. I was gonna say yes, and I'm struggling to think of a specific example right now. But yeah, we frequently talk about Singles Exchange, the content, not just the content I create, but also all of the other content too. I think we talk the most because we have a little bit of age difference. I think we talk the most about just our different experiences, and I think one thing for us has also been the self-care aspect. I think we're both very busy people. We both have type A tendencies to a certain extent. And for us, that's probably been the most important conversation. We've navigated singleness. We're still trying to navigate even how we identify as individuals in a relationship. So, and I think that people need to know that there's more in singlehood that applies to marriage than we sometimes think.
Yeah.
So we just kind of like dig in and have those conversations. And, you know, sometimes we're asking, you know, what was your experience when you were single? And sometimes we're asking, how can we still implement this and maintain autonomy and build our relationship with each other? So there's a lot of very healthy conversations that come from that.
That's dope.
That's really good. That's a good perspective. Like
It is.
how you're still in a marriage, but you're still your own
Exactly.
individual.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Person.
That's really good.
I think that you guys embody that well. And the same thing with Tamika and her husband. I think you guys embody being an individual and being uniquely who you are, but still having a united front of this is who we are and this is who I am on top of that. So, Tamika, your question is kind of about Singles Exchange and kind of not. So, Singles Exchange went through like 2 months where we just talked about love languages and things like that. So my question to you, being a wife, being a mommy, being a full-time worker, I know, and being in the midst of a pandemic, you don't have a lot of free time. So what are things that fill your love tank and speak your love language?
Good question.
Wow. She coming out the gate hard, y'all.
So my love languages that I need are quality time and words of affirmation. So for me, presence is a huge thing. Presence, and also clarity on how you feel about me, or even clarity on how I feel about myself. Getting that clarity for myself. So for me, a lot of times taking the time to understand how I feel about something is self-love for me. And so sometimes I have to like take a break, which I'm doing this weekend. Taking a whole break because I need not only to rest, but I need to answer some questions for myself that have been on my spirit for some time. But outside of that, in relationships, outside of myself, that's a huge thing, is communication, clarity. And for me, that's like, yes, you love me. You told me you told me this. That means you love me. and in friendships too. That's
Yeah,
huge.
absolutely.
And I think a lot of times we negate like how important friendships are, as well as relationships. They're kind of on a similar level.
Right.
Yeah.
So those are the two big things for me that in singleness and in marriage I've learned are super important for my love cup to be overflowing.
Nice.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Not just for
Right.
overflowing.
Come on,
You're
little
right.
tank.
Real talk.
Overflow.
Yeah.
Because that's what we want.
That's
The
what I want.
excess.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to let them ask me whatever they want. I don't know what's going to happen. But I gave them complete free reign. So whoever wants to go first, y'all can do both of your questions at one time or however y'all want. Go for
How
it.
y'all want to do? Y'all want to do 1, 1, 1, and then 1, 1, 1, or
Yeah, let's do like 2 rounds.
okay?
Okay.
So wait. Oh no, go ahead. We'll just go. I'll follow.
Okay,
I'm unsure of what's happening, but I will follow.
Okay.
Okay. So my first question is, what are some of your non-negotiables when it comes to dating? I know that we aren't supposed to have a list, but what are some key characteristics or elements you just won't settle for
Okay.
in a relationship?
That is a good question. Number one, in order to date Joy, you have to have a relationship with God. And I don't mean like know him in passing. Like you have to have real conversation with him, and he got to know you just as much as
That
you
part.
know. Yeah. And I say that because I know that I am a very weird culmination of things. I am like right at the cusp of introvert and extrovert. I'm an intercessor. I'm a youth leader. I have tons of friends. Like I have a lot of factors to me. And so not even where you'll fit, because I believe that if you're the one for me, I will want to create a space for you in my life, but you have to be able to handle all that comes with me, because I don't just come with just me. I come with Singles Exchange, I come with God Kids, I come with a lot of other things that pull at me. And can you pray for me? Can you cover me in prayer? Or can you say, hey babe, listen, you're tired. You need to sit down. You're not doing anything today. Like, I need somebody that can help me to balance, because I can go any way and be extremely that way. I can be the extreme youth leader or the extreme friend or the extreme godmama, whatever. So a requirement for me is having a relationship with God so that he can tell you how to help me. Another non-negotiable for me is that you have to be witty. And I don't want to say intelligent, because witty and intelligent are not the same, but I like to talk. And I like to read, and I like to watch movies, and I'm an artsy person, and so you want to be able to keep up. Like, I want to be able to say, I literally saw this on Time Hop the other day. I want to be able to turn to a guy that I'm talking to and say something like, you can't trust her, she's a siren. And he understands the reference. Like, you got to be able to have some type of something behind you, not even book smarts, but have you read some books? Like, do you know some things? And yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. I think that all the other stuff is like, of course you gotta have good hygiene. Of course you gotta have a job. Like, that's stuff that you're not even gonna get. That's what I'm saying. You're not even gonna get past step one.
You cannot be off. You cannot be off.
Of course.
Yeah. So those are my two biggest non-negotiables. And I keep it that way because if you have God as the first non-negotiable and you really have God in your heart, then all the other stuff won't even need to be said. So, yeah.
It's good.
Thanks.
Okay, am I up now?
Yes.
All right, so I just want to know, Joy, what, just give us like 2 or 3 things that you like learned about yourself in working Singles Exchange out.
Oh, that's good. So, one thing that I am still learning about myself in Singles Exchange is that I am a creative, and to be a creative means that you always have 3 or more projects in your brain. Like, the staff knows this. I'll text them 8 a.m. or 11 p.m. I think it's a great idea. And I want to do it right now.
In all caps.
Because
I'm in my bed, I look at the phone, and I turn the
and
phone
she's
over.
Okay.
And they still talking. And they still talking, and I'm sweet.
I'm the one responding like, okay, what are we going?
Lisa will definitely hype me up. And Tamika be like,
Sleep. I'll
tomorrow
take
she
her in
come
the morning.
But I am learning to create a balance. Like this week, in my brain, I've been planning stuff for Singles Exchange. I've been writing out stuff for date night because I'm an associate director for that. I've been creating an office space. I had a doctor's appointment. Like, I've been doing all types of stuff. So I have learned that I always have a lot going on, and I have to force myself to bring it back in. Slow down. Yes, it's a great idea. Write it down because you'll probably forget it because you're going to have another great idea in 30 minutes. Write it down and come back to it once you're settled and you're able to focus on it. Another thing that I've learned or I'm relearning is that I struggle with time management because I have so many projects. I look up and 10 days pass and I got to post a podcast in 3 days. And I don't have anything written. I don't have a topic, So I am learning to find that time management balance of this is my time for self-care. This is my time for family. This is my time for friends. This is my time for Singles Exchange. And it has to be specific because you want everything to get the attention and the energy that it deserves. So, yeah, I am learning that I am all over the place and I have to pull it back in.
I like it.
Okay, so first of all, I didn't know these questions are going to just you. But it's so funny, the questions that I made are for you.
Okay.
So you're single right now.
Right now.
As you're evolving and growing in your singleness, so far, what do you feel is going to be or is currently the purpose of your singleness? Of your singleness?
That's a heavy question.
It wasn't a group one.
Right. So I think that one of my purposes in being single, especially for this amount of time, is to create Singles Exchange. I absolutely think that Singles Exchange is a training ground for the next place that I am going. But building is required because where I'm going is going to be a lot bigger than what I've ever done before. So in order for me to properly train, to properly learn how to manage a staff, to properly learn the time management and, all of the aspects of running a business, especially in a world of social media. We are in a time where if you don't have social media for your business, you're not going to get real far. Mm-hmm. So learning the logistics of you should be posting so many times a day. And you need to be posting at these times because these are the times where you get high interaction. Like learning all of those behind the scenes logistics and learning to look at those details. I definitely think that's one of the purpose. But also another purpose is just to relearn me. I said this in another podcast episode. I don't know which one. But I talked about how when you get into relationships, a lot of times you tend to lose your identity and you forget that before I got with this person, this is what I wanted. Because when you get with somebody, especially somebody like me who wants to be married, you start to look at how we can meld our lives together. But if you don't end up marrying that person, then you have to go back to who am I and who am I now? Because who I was when I got with them may not even be who I am now. But who is that person? What do you want? What do you like? What do you dislike? Where are some places that you need to be healed? Like I think that's a huge part for me of God allowing me to be by myself, to turn the camera or to turn the mirror on me and say, this is where you have issues. This is where you struggle. This is where you need to work on before I put you back with somebody else. So that's what I think the purpose is, in short. Lisa.
That was good.
Thanks.
Round two.
I know, round two. It's so funny that you asked that question because it kind of led way into my question.
Okay.
Because you mentioned Singles Exchange being a training ground. while you're single. But my question is, what are your plans for singles exchange once you are no longer single?
That's a good question. Actually, I get asked that question a lot. It's singles exchange till the world blow up. Like, it's not going anywhere. Right. It's singles exchange for life, period. Singles exchange will not go anywhere. When I do get into a relationship and when I do get married, then by that time, I will have some different perspectives and I'll be able to interview more people and pull other people in so that it can continue to run. But even now, Singles Exchange does have interrelationship aspects. We have Married Mondays and we have exchangers that are dating or engaged or married or divorced or whatever. So I think it'll just be for the people who desire to get married. I think that it'll be a testament to them that you can desire to be married and it will happen in God's time. And also it'll give somebody else an opportunity to work with me because one of the things that Tamika told me in that branding meeting, which was over a year ago now, you need to start training somebody now because you won't always be the forefront. You'll still be there, but you won't be the forefront the way you are now. So it'll allow somebody else that same opportunity to learn how to run a business. So yeah, it's a good question.
Thank you.
Wow.
Okay, so that low key kind of leads into my question.
Well, come on, be on one accord.
Right. Perfect.
So my second question, and if you can answer this without letting all your trade secrets out.
Okay.
What's the vision? Simply, what's the vision? What do you see the legacy of Singles Exchange being in 10 years, 20 years, 50 years? What's the vision?
Question. So the vision for Singles Exchange, as always, is to create conversation surrounding dating, surrounding relationships. I would like for Singles Exchange to be a place where all singles are welcome. I know a lot of times, especially in Christian single ministries, you see 25 women and 3 men. Mm-hmm. And I would like to see Singles Exchange become a place where the men are just as comfortable as the women having the conversations, where they are allowed to be themselves. In the Black community, we have this stigma that Black men don't need self-care, or Black women or whoever. We don't go to therapy, and I want it to be a place where you can come to Singles Exchange and be exactly who you are.
Yeah.
Because when you are your true self, that's when you find somebody who is also their true self, and you can really get to know somebody. You don't have to send your representative like most people do on those first, second, fifth, and 25th dates.
Right.
You can be completely you. Even the bad stuff, and we can discuss it, and it's in a healthy environment. Mm-hmm. So that's the legacy that I would like to see. I would eventually like to see some connections happening in Singles Exchange, because that's a part of it. And I do think it's gonna happen. I know some of y'all been sliding in DMs. It's all right.
We see
that's the goal.
We see you.
We see you, and we're here for it.
Here for it.
But I really do want the 3 pillars of Singles Exchange to be the most prominent. I want that to be a place where, Singles Exchange is like my online family. And, I made a connection with this person, whether it was a relationship or a business. Mm-hmm. And we can have those conversations.
That's good.
Thanks.
I'm not sure if my question is on the train.
It doesn't have to be on the train. There's no train. There's no
Get
train.
your own track.
Sorry. Okay, my question is, share with us 1 or 2 like really positive experiences you've had with Singles Exchange. Maybe like things you've seen, like light bulbs go off in people's heads online, or something like that, where it was like, I really feel like this is dope, like this is happening, like this is exactly what I wanted to happen, or beyond what you wanted to happen.
Oh, just what?
1 or 2, or 1 or 2 or more. We'll be here. We just
I have a lot.
Yes.
So, again, with Singles Exchange being based inside of social media, you get a lot of people who are watching and you don't know they're watching. You may never get a like or a comment or a share from them, but then you'll get a message like, hey, that podcast today was for me. Like I was sitting on the couch the other day and one of my friends who I didn't even know listened to the podcast texted me like, I feel like you coming for me in this last podcast at 8 minutes and 3 seconds, but I'm gonna keep going though. And I was like, I didn't even know that you listen frequently. Like, you know how some people, they listen to something one time, but they don't listen to every episode. So I was like, I didn't even know that you're still listening, but thank you. And I've had a lot of that. I've had a lot of moments where people have reached out to me and just been like, hey, I really agree with that. Or, you know what? That made me think differently. Or one of my favorites was this young lady messaged me like, I went on a date and I used 3 of the questions that you had put on Singles Exchange.
Yes.
So stuff like that makes me happy because that's the goal, is to take the information. Yeah, we're going to talk amongst ourselves on Facebook and on Instagram, but take that into your dating experiences. So those have been some highlights for me. And I look forward to sharing more because there will be more. And I'm excited. So I just want to shout out the lovely exchangers, the staffers. I am excited for what's to come. Anybody want to shout out their social media handles before we end this?
I just changed mine in my whole life.
Okay.
I don't even know it.
It's okay. She'll figure it out.
Maybe post it below.
Right. We'll post it in the comments or something. Nonetheless, I want to personally thank you ladies for always putting up with my shenanigans and for being so willing to help with Singles Exchange. We appreciate you. Even the people that don't know that they read your posts, they appreciate you too.
Yes.
So, lastly, I'd of course like to announce the official name for our series, the very first series that we're going to do, and it is called Discourse on Dating.
Woo!
So exciting.
Genuine excitement.
So,
yes.
basically, school's back in session. We're going back to class, and we're going back to the basics of different dating experiences. So we're going to talk about dating after you're married. We're going to talk about dating after divorce. We're going to talk about dating while damaged. We're going to talk about dating and adapting and a whole bunch of other things. And guess what? You get an episode every single week, so you don't have to wait 2 weeks. You get an episode every week until this